Good morning, children. So in the previous class, if you remember, we had done with double circulations. I'll just repeat double circulation because I have to give you reference to certain blood vessels. We will be naming certain blood vessels. So again, basically we are coming back to systemic circulation. Systemic circulation, what did we see in systemic circulation? The heart. Systemic circulation includes the organ which pumps blood, that is the heart. The blood vessel which is coming out, that is aorta. There are branches of aorta, of course I am not showing it like that, coming out, and aorta, from aorta, absolutely diagrammatic I am showing you. It's coming out and getting into several organs. It's not possible to show all organs, is it? So supposing we name certain organs. Suppose this is the liver, this is liver, this is kidney. I'll be doing with more. This is kidney. This is, say, the gonads. This is, say, your lower limb. It goes like that, is it? So after here what are we finding? That blood is flowing into several organs. I have shown only 4 of them, is it? Where they are branching off to form capillaries, arterioles, and then into capillaries. These are arteries. As they are branching, they are taking blood away from the heart. They are branching from aorta, so these are the arteries. They branch off inside the organ, they branch off into arterioles and finally into capillaries. The capillaries join up to form venules and finally vein, and a vein comes out from each organ. This is the basic idea about the circulation. It comes out from here, it is coming out like this, it is coming out, it's joining, capillaries joining to form vein, and this is these blood vessels are arteries and these blood vessels are veins. How do we know these blood vessels are veins? Again, limbs also we are showing the same way. Here they are breaking down into capillaries, joining to form again vein, is it? So how do we know these are veins? Because they are carrying blood away from the organ, and then they do not get into the heart individually. Instead they join the main vein of the body, is it? That is vena cava. Since I am showing the organs present below the heart, so this is the posterior vena cava, or we can also say the inferior vena cava. This is the vena cava. So what is the thing here? The blood is poured into vena cava and finally blood enters into the heart. That means vena cava is collecting blood from several organs, several organs. The vena cava is collecting blood and then it is pouring into the heart, and then the circulation starts. Right auricle, right ventricle, again to the lungs, gets oxygenated back to the heart, is it? Again to the left ventricle, pumps out oxygenated blood, pumps out and goes to every part of the body. So it goes like that, is it? So this is what is systemic circulation. Now, why have I mentioned about systemic circulation? Because now I will be showing you hepatic portal system. What is hepatic portal system? There is an exception in this, where the blood vessel is not joining vena cava. What is the exception? What are the organs involved in this? The organs are first the heart, of course, the heart pumping blood, pumping out oxygenated blood. All right, here it comes out. I will be showing only 2 organs, oxygenated blood, and here it breaks down, it branches off, is it? So definitely this is aorta, a branch of aorta, it has to be artery, and it enters into the liver. This is which organ I am showing? Liver. What are we doing? I am going to explain with hepatic portal system. It's slightly different, is it? Liver, fine, okay. It breaks off into capillaries, is it? It ramifies and form capillaries, joins to form vein, and it comes out, is it all right? It comes out to join the vena cava, here the vena cava, and it is going into, getting into the heart. Is it? This is vena cava, this is vena cava getting into the heart. Okay. What are the names of the arteries? Certain arteries we have to name. We have to know the names of certain arteries, not all. So here we have to name. What term do we use for liver? In class 9 also we have done in digestive system. What term do we use for liver? Hepatic, is it? Okay, so this artery is hepatic artery. Hepatic artery. Okay, capillaries, and this is hepatic vein. So what is the direction of flow of blood? Follow the arrow here, it is coming out. Is it oxygenated blood getting in, deoxygenated blood coming out through hepatic vein. Hepatic vein is thicker than hepatic artery. I'll give you the reason for that. Is it? Okay, so till here everything is hepatic artery entering into the liver and carrying deoxygenated blood, and finally it is poured into vena cava. Is it? So sorry, I have already mentioned vena cava, and this is aorta. Aorta. Okay, now comes the next organ, that is the small intestine. Okay, here this is aorta. Now comes the small intestine. Is it all right? The next organ is small intestine. What happens in small intestine? Okay, so here it is. Now again the same thing is happening where we don't have to name the artery here. This is one artery branching and getting into another organ, that is small intestine. Alright, it is now breaking off, branching off to form capillaries joining to form vein. It's same, is it? Till now it's the same, is it clear? Joining to form the vein. Okay, we call it mesenteric artery, though we don't have to name it. We don't have to name the artery here. This one, it is why it is artery? Because it is carrying blood away from the heart towards the organ. So it is artery. This is one artery which is carrying blood to the small intestine. Is it all right? And this is a vein which is carrying blood from the small intestine. Oxygenated blood entering, deoxygenated blood coming out. It's same with all organs, but here one important thing is taking place in small intestine. If you remember in class 9 we have done in digestive system that in small intestine another important function occurs, that is absorption of nutrients. If you remember, you know, all carbohydrates are converted into monosaccharides. Main one is glucose. All proteins converted into amino acid, fats converted into fatty acid, glycerol. So after that what happens, after the conversion occurs, these are absorbed. Is it all right? So here not only gaseous exchange is occurring, that means oxygen is brought by the blood given to the cells of intestine, and the cells of intestine producing carbon dioxide collected by the blood. This is happening in all organs. Oxygen is brought by the blood, is it clear, given to the tissues of that concerned organ. In this case it is the small intestine, and then small intestine at the same, the cells of small intestine are producing carbon dioxide that is being collected. So oxygenated blood is entering, giving out oxygen, collecting carbon dioxide, out deoxygenated blood. But apart from gaseous exchange, respiratory gas exchange, one more important thing is taking place. What is that? That is absorption. That means in small intestine glucose is formed, or we can call monosaccharide, amino acid, fatty acid, glycerol. These are formed. Class 9 we have done. They also enter into the capillary. Recall the structure of villus. If you remember, we have villus has capillaries, arterioles, capillaries. Food moves into lacteals and capillaries. If you remember, digested food, that means monosaccharides, amino acids, fatty acids, glycerol. So here fatty monosaccharides, Fatty acids and glycerols formed. Is it clear? Amino acid is formed here in small intestine, which after the formation enters into the blood. So what is the blood carrying? The blood is actually carrying carbon dioxide, just like other organs, but at the same time it is also carrying absorbed nutrients. Okay, now as we have seen in systemic circulation, it should join the vena cava. Is it? It should join the vena cava. I have shown with a broken line because it doesn't join. Okay. Now what is the reason? Now the requirement of our body varies. How much amino acid we need, how much monosaccharide we need, it depends. Is it clear? Maybe the amount of monosaccharide, glucose I need, I have not taken that much. Means my cell requires, suppose I am doing some very tedious work, very hard work I am doing, and I need lot of energy. For that I need lot of glucose. Is it clear? But I have not taken adequate carbohydrate. I have not taken adequate glucose. Adequate glucose is not present here. Or just the opposite, suppose I am not doing much hard work, but I have taken a meal full of carbohydrate. I am giving in reference to carbohydrate, that will be easy for you, not amino acid or fatty acid and glycerol. Now what happens, suppose again another thing may happen, that in my meal I have taken lot of carbohydrates. I have taken rice, I have taken chapati, I have taken potato, I have taken sweets, I have eaten ice cream, etc., etc., full of carbohydrates. Is it? But I am not doing much hard work. So what will happen? More carbohydrates I have taken. Is it clear? So this carbohydrate, extra carbohydrate or less, I do not know the requirement of my body. It requires more or it requires less, it requires more monosaccharide, it requires more amino. I do not know. Is it clear? Who knows? It is decided by the liver. Now you see what happens. Suppose let me consider that I have taken a meal full of carbohydrates and I have lot of glucose. I have produced lot of glucose in my small intestine, and the blood which is coming out is loaded with glucose, is totally loaded with glucose, and I do not require so much of glucose. If it is so, what happens? It has to be guided by the liver. Is it all right? It is assisted by pancreas also. Later on we will see. Okay, so it has to be. Now what happens? The food which is absorbed, instead of joining the vena cava, it enters into the liver. It enters into the liver. Is it all right? See the difference. Other organs, they are joining the vena cava, but here it is not joining vena cava. It is entering into the liver and it breaks down into capillaries. It breaks down into capillaries. Is it clear? Here the load of nutrients is identified by the liver. What is the meaning? Liver decides how much nutrient is needed. If we have, again I am giving you in with reference to glucose, if I have in my food, in my blood, there is extra glucose. Is it clear? Liver takes it out from the blood. Liver, if there is extra glucose, more glucose than what I require, if there is extra glucose, liver takes it out and is converted into glycogen. Liver can produce certain enzymes which can convert glucose to glycogen. And what is glycogen? Class 9 we have done. Glycogen is stored form of food. Glucose is soluble, glycogen is insoluble. So now liver produces glycogen and this extra glucose is converted into glycogen and is stored in the liver. I said extra glucose, not the entire glucose. How much is needed, it remains in the blood. How much is extra is converted into glycogen and is converted into glycogen and is stored in the liver. Is it all right? This is one case. Now just let me explain. What if it is just the opposite? Means suppose I need more glucose, I am doing some tedious work, I need